There are places no one wants to get stuck, like a traffic jam or an awkward conversation. But today, we're going to meet some people who got stuck a little more literally, including a man stuck in a wall, a famous politician in an unfortunate mess, and a TikTok influencer who almost died for the perfect video. Hold on tight, subscribe to the channel, and let's take a closer look at the 10 people who got stuck in weird places. Number 10. Not quite Santa Claus. On December 6, 2019 in Tucson, Arizona, a man in his mid-30s got stuck in a chimney, and it wasn't Santa Claus. In fact, far from it. Though it had been falsely reported by multiple sources, the man in the chimney was not the home's occupant, but rather a wanted criminal attempting to seek refuge in an uninhabited home. Around 12:20 p.m., neighbors heard the man screaming for help. They immediately alerted authorities, and responding firefighters found the man wedged in the chimney with no choice but to admit what happened. The firefighters used a rescue ring and a rope attached to a crane to pull the man out. He was only free for moments though before he was taken into custody by Tucson Police for trespassing, possession of a dangerous drug, and an outstanding warrant. If you thought this self-inflicted chaos was something, wait until you see our number 1 entry who very nearly died, trapped in a highly unlikely place. Number 9. Wall for One. Rafael Valadao was 28 years old when he was arrested for theft and sent to a prison in Ceres, Brazil. Rafael was determined not to stay long, and he soon became involved in a plot to escape by using a shower rod to carve a hole in the wall. The plot involved 4 people, but only one would actually escape. The first man through the wall made a break for it, but Rafael Valadao was slightly girthier, and as he started to make his way through the hole, he quickly became stuck. Unfortunately, while the hole exited the cell on the ground, it emerged halfway up a wall in a hallway, meaning that Rafael was literally left hanging from a jagged opening in a concrete wall. To make matters worse, the 2 other prisoners awaiting their turn were frantically trying to push him through so they could also get out. Guards found the man hanging there with a fractured rib after he began screaming in agony. He was freed by firefighters and returned to his cell, probably a little humbled by the incident. Before we go on, like this video, pop the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell right now, or the ghost in your closet will manifest itself tonight. Number 8. Hanging Boris. Before he was Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson was the enthusiastic mayor of London, eager to make his mark. One more memorable policy stunt came after a British gold medal win in 2012. To celebrate, good old Boris decided to ride down a zipline while waving 2 UK flags. Unfortunately, about halfway down, he became stuck and was left to simply hang there. The apparatus pulled his pants up to an epic wedgie, leaving him there with his 2 flags and his bare ankles hanging in the breeze as photographers eagerly snapped photos. In total, he remained stuck there for about 10 minutes, but they are 10 truly memorable moments. Number 7. Competitive much? Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned game of hide and seek? A Virginia teenager, however, took it to extremes during a game with her family. Thinking she had found the perfect hiding spot, the young girl squeezed herself into the family's washing machine. Perhaps it was a spot she had found as a young child. Now, however, once she had fit through the narrow opening, she found herself stuck inside, unable to get back out. Realizing her situation, she began to scream, and soon her family came running. Unable to get her out on their own, firefighters were called in and eventually had to partially disassemble the washer in order to get her back out. In the end, the girl was uninjured, albeit probably very embarrassed. Number 6. Very compact car. Not surprisingly, this next story is the result of excessive alcohol consumption and poor judgments. In 2016, a viral video showed Georgina Thornston, who under the influence, tried to fit himself into a toy car. Needless to say, it didn't work great, and the man remained trapped for quite some time as his friends worked hard to rescue him in an assortment of tools. In the viral video titled "Drunken Yorkshire Man Stuck in a Toy Car," the man is seen trying to get out, but his rescue isn't actually on film. As far as we know, he's still in that car. Number 5. Rebirth of sorts. The University of Tübingen in Germany is home to a rather unique statue, a massive block of stone with a vulva carved into it. Ordinarily, this statue wouldn't hurt a soul, but all that changed when an American exchange student had a bright idea. An unnamed male student squeezed into a wider section of the sculpture, hoping to take an amusing picture. Unfortunately, he settled into a narrow area where he became tightly wedged, leaving his friend and photographer no choice but to notify firefighters. In the end, it took 22 firefighters to free the man. Was that a C-section? Number 4. Florida Man Jr. It seems like some of the most obscure news articles come straight out of Florida. But this one is actually fresh from Alabama. Kesley Ingersoll had taken her family for a pizza at a local pizza place in Fairhope, Alabama, when her daughter came running up to her with a cryptic message: "Ezra's in the game." That's when she noticed that her 2-year-old son had climbed into and was now trapped in a large claw machine. While this may sound like a child's dream, little Ezra is rather terrified and not very amused by the hundreds of toys that now surrounded him. The fire department was called and freed the young child. Most importantly though, Ezra got to keep the toy that had originally lured him inside. Number 3. ATM. In 2017, an ATM repairman was sent out to a job. That required him to open up the machine and change the lock that linked the ATM to the main building. Unfortunately, in the process, the man became stuck inside the machine. Typically, the repairman simply would make a phone call and someone would come and let him out. On this day, however, he had left his phone outside and his location meant that no one could hear him scream. In a stroke of genius, the man scribbled a note on a small piece of paper and pushed it through a receipt slot. The next person to use it saw the note and phoned for help. The note said, "Help, I'm stuck in here, call my boss." Then the man wrote his boss's phone number. Even though the customer who found it thought it might be a prank, they decided to call the number anyways. And thankfully, the man was saved a short time later. Number 2. A really crappy date. First dates are always awkward, but the woman in this next story really took things to new levels. A British college student named Liam Smith met a young lady online, and the two of them went on a date. Things were going pretty well, and he decided to invite her back to his apartment for a nightcap. Next, the young lady asked to use the washroom. It seems she had to poop and she simply couldn't wait. However, when she tried to flush, the abnormally large turd became stuck and wouldn't go down the drain. Mortified and not wanting this to be the way her date remembered her, she gathered up some toilet paper and courage before picking the turd out of the toilet and attempting to toss it out the window. Fortunately, the window didn't open into the garden as she had anticipated, but into an 18-inch gap separated by another window. Rather than throwing away the turd, she had placed it on display between 2 panes of glass. With very few other options, she attempted to retrieve it, only to become wedged face to face with her own turd and unable to get back out. When the fire department arrived, they had to remove the window, and Liam was forced to start a GoFundMe account to have it replaced. Number 1. No more Mr. Ice Guy. Each year, many people all over the world either die or come very close to it after becoming stuck in freezing waters. Most people who find themselves in this situation, however, do so by accident. But not this guy. TikTok influencer Jason Clark was attempting to swim under some ice to reach a clearing in it and capture the perfect TikTok. However, things quickly got out of control. After Jason had swam some distance, he believed he was at a hole, but he wasn't, and the freezing waters had blinded him. He swiped at the surface of the ice, realizing he had only a few seconds of air in the freezing waters. He quickly turned himself around and tried to follow the trail of disrupted water he had left in his wake. However, upon heading to where he believed the hole to be, he bypassed it and kept swimming. After realizing that he might very well not make it out alive, he decided to turn around one more time. Now, completely blind, he was swimming for his life. But that's when he felt one of his hands break through at the original hole. He quickly stood up, and over the next 2 minutes, was able to regain his eyesight and breath. But Jason has said it's the closest to dying he's ever been. That's all for 10 people who got stuck in weird places. Which story was your favorite? Have you heard of similar stories? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to TrendJoint for more incredible videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.